Welcome, small steppers. I am back today for the fourth in a 5-part series, so we're almost done, all about how to get mentally prepared or mentally prepped for your New Year's resolution. If you have one, if you don't worry about it, because neither do I. So if you happen to have one, that's great. If you happen to come up with a resolution or a goal in the middle of January or the middle of April, that doesn't matter. Pick a date, any date. Doesn't have to be New Year's. But for those of you that do have one that you're thinking about starting next week, that's what I'm doing this series for, all about how to get mentally prepped and ready to have some sort of resolution that you want to accomplish. So today is the fourth. It's going to be all about setting goals. So goal setting is super duper important in making any resolution or change that you want to make happen. You have to have a goal, and we'll get into that today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Christine Garrison, and I'm a health coach, and I help women who are in their midlife stop their sabotaging beliefs and behaviors and be done with dieting and learn to take small, practical steps in their health so that they can feel younger as they get older. So I want to do a quick little recap about the last session in case you missed that. That was session number 3, and that was really the secret sauce one that I call it, the secret sauce. So all of these series of Facebook Lives are on my Small Steps Coaching Facebook page, so you can check them out there if you haven't seen the other episodes. But the last one, quick little recap, was really about why. I call it your why power. So wanting to make a change, it's very important to have a very deep, personal, emotional, it's all about emotions, why power. Why is that a change you want to make? You got to get deeper than, I want to lose 20 pounds so I can fit into my skinny jeans. Now that's great, but you want to go deeper than that. So that's what we did the last one. We did some exercises in how to get down to your why power. I gave my own personal why power story. And then we also did another exercise, which I call, it's writing the holiday letter for 2022. So you want to today write out a holiday letter that you would be writing a year from now, reflecting back on the year. So what kind of goals did you have? What kind of changes did you make? What kind of positive things maybe happened in your health in 2022? You want to write about it now, pretending like it already happened. So that helps to get to the deep emotional reasons also. But today is all about goal setting. So let's start there. So when people start with New Year's resolutions, sometimes a very common mistake I see a lot of the times is they start with like, my goal is I'm going to get healthy. In 2022, I'm going to get healthy. Now that's awesome. And I call that a big outcome or aspirational or a destination kind of goal. That's a big goal. But what does that mean? And how does that look? So I want to get healthy is a good overview. It's like an umbrella, but then you need to get to some sub goals beneath that. So what aspect of health would you want to work on, right? There's nutrition, there's exercise, there's sleep, there's stress reduction, there's well-being, there's how you relate to your loved ones. All these aspects affect your health, right? So you want to narrow it down. So let me do an example. Let's say we've got Betty. Betty joined us in the first and second series. I named Betty, my imaginary client. So Betty has decided she wants to improve her health, but Betty's going to pick exercise as like one of the sub goals right below that. I'm going to start exercising. That's going to be Betty's goal. Okay, even that is a little bit loosey-goosey, kind of broad of a goal. I'm going to start exercising. What does that mean? Are you going to do a Peloton? Are you going to do CrossFit? Are you going to walk around your neighborhood? Are you going to play tennis 3 days a week? You got to get more nitty gritty. And this is a lot where I see a lot of people running into problems, is not getting specific enough in their goals. And so today I'm going to talk about SMART goals. And that's capital SMART, SMART goals. Each letter stands for a word that I'll go over, versus like, I won't call it a dumb goal, but like a normal regular goal. So a normal regular goal, Betty might say, I'm going to start walking. Okay, that's at least that's a little bit more specific. We went from I'm going to get healthy to I'm going to exercise to I'm going to start walking, like pick one form of exercise. So that's getting more specific, but that is not yet a SMART goal. So SMART stands for, and you don't worry about writing this down or remembering this, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So that is a SMART goal. So let me give you an example of what a SMART goal is. So Betty has a goal of, I'm going to start walking more, versus Betty's SMART goal of, this week, I will walk for 15 minutes around my neighborhood on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right when I come home from work. See the difference between those two goals, right? On Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, let's say Betty gets home at 6 o'clock and Betty's spouse or her kids want to ask her a question, they should know, oh, it's Wednesday at 6. Oh, mom's walking around the neighborhood for 15 minutes. She'll be back in, 10 more minutes, right? It should be a specific enough goal that the people who know your goal should be able to find you doing it at that time. Like, you know exactly what's happening. It is the what, the when, the where, and the how of a goal. So that's the kind of goal that you want to get to. Very, very, very specific. So it's specific, it's measurable. 15 minutes is a measurable amount of time. Or Betty could say, I'm going to walk for 2 miles. That's a measurable amount of length, right? Attainable and relevant, that just means these should be things that you're able to do. Betty should live in a neighborhood that she can walk for 15 minutes. If you decided to make a goal and you lived in Florida and you wanted to make a goal of, I'm going to go skiing every day, that may not work out too well. That's probably not going to be a realistic goal or an attainable goal to have in Florida, is to go downhill skiing every day. So that's that part of the SMART goal. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So very, very detailed. But beyond that, beyond having the SMART goal aspect, there are 3 very important additions that I want you to look at for your goal, for your SMART goal. The first one is that your goal needs to be about your behaviors only. That means you don't make a goal of, I'm going to lose 5 pounds in 1 week. Because losing 5 pounds is not a behavior. You can't just lose 5 pounds for me right now. Let me see you lose 5 pounds. That would be nice if that was a behavior, right? But it's not. It has to be a behavior. It has to be something that you do. So you don't pick numbers or weight loss as a SMART goal. So it has to be a behavior. So in Betty's case, she's got that down. She's walking. That is a behavior that she can do, right? The second part is it needs to be framed in the positive. So Betty already has her SMART goal framed in the positive. She's telling me with that SMART goal what she will do. She's not saying something she's not going to do. For example, let's say if Betty maybe wanted to eat less donuts, you wouldn't want to frame a SMART goal saying, I'm going to eat, 5 less donuts this week, right? That's in the negative. Instead, you could frame it, I'm going to drink 5 more cups of water or something to replace the donut. So if you're not going to eat the donut, what are you going to do instead of eating the donut? Make that the SMART goal. Okay, so try to keep SMART goals in the positive framework. What will you be doing? Don't make a SMART goal about what you're not going to do. And then the third most important aspect, and this may be literally the most important aspect, and literally this is the reason I call my business Small Steps Coaching. I want you to keep your SMART goal at about an 8 on a 1 to 10 scale. Okay, so if a 1 to 10 scale of how likely do you think you will be able to accomplish this goal? I want you to be at least an 8. So that means when Betty looks at her SMART goal, I'm going to walk, 3 days a week for 15 minutes. She needs to feel like, oh yeah, that's no problem. I can easily do that. That's easily an 8 out of 10. Okay, that's super important. If Betty thinks, well, maybe that's a 5. I think I can do that. I'm kind of think I can do that. That means that goal, that SMART goal, is too hard. You've got to make it easier. And this is when, especially people doing some behavior change initially, are thinking, that's not enough. 15 minutes, 3 days a week? How is that going to get me healthy, right? Those are the people that are like, next week, I've never gone to a gym in my life, but next week, on Monday, man, I'm going to go to the gym 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, when I've never gone to the gym ever before. That's probably not a realistic. That's probably like maybe a 2 on a 1 to 10 scale. So that SMART goal, it needs to be at least an 8. I want you to pick a SMART goal that you almost think like, oh my gosh, that's so easy. I can totally do that. No big deal. You need to pick a no big deal goal to start with. Why? Because if Betty decides 15 minutes is a little bit too much, maybe she's going to make it 5. Great. Go for a 5-minute walk. You can always walk longer. But if you make a goal so big of, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week for an hour each day, and then by the 3rd day, something pops up and you can't go, and now you feel like, well, now I've blown it. I guess I can't do this, or it's too hard, or it's too this. You made the goal too hard. It needs to start off at that first goal. It needs to start off easy. Small step, small, easy step. So that's by far the most important one, I think, of the 3, is keeping that SMART goal easy, easy peasy, easy peasy, okay? So that was it for setting goals for today. We've got one more live in the series, and that'll be later this week, maybe Thursday. I'm not sure. I'm trying to work out my week. Maybe on Thursday, and that's going to be all about the importance of tracking. So you really need to make sure you are tracking what you're doing so you can see progress, you can see obstacles, you can see where challenges are cropping up, etc. So that was it for today. Oh, I almost forgot. I am going to be opening up my private one-on-one roster starting next week, beginning of January. I do private one-on-one coaching. I am doing 25% off now for a limited time, just for the New Year's, like a New Year's discount. And all of my private coaching packages are all 12 weeks long. So it really, you need to stick at it for at least 12 weeks to really get that behavior change and those habits under your belt. And so it becomes easy peasy to continue on. So if you have any questions about private coaching or interested or learning more about that, feel free to message me on this Facebook page, my Small Steps Coaching Facebook page, and I can talk to you in more detail about that. Thanks for joining me today, everybody. Bye. I'll see you later this week. Bye.